Hey guys, this is BuzWeaver, the average Battlefield player. That's code for I don't have stellar stats. This video is really oriented around the fun of the game. The average player, the guy who comes home from work, had a long day, wants to relieve a little stress, just wants to fire off a few rounds. And if any illustration to the fact that I am an average player, it was probably indicative of that last little exchange. We are watching a round of Gunmaster, and I needed to finish this in the top 5 so that I could unlock my M5K. Now I had played about 9 rounds, and the closest I was able to get was 6th. I averaged about 9th. The highest level I had reached to this point was about 14, so 3 away from a completion, but as I mentioned earlier, the best that I placed was 6. I was so close. In the background, you'll hear me chatting with my guildmate Night Raven, who decided to come along and provide a little bit of support, and maybe shield and cover and soften up some of my targets. Now, in Gunmaster, it really does seem, if it isn't already obvious, you are actually competing against your own teammates. Now, teammates being a relative term here because, if nothing else, they will also soften up your targets, and it can appear as though they steal your kills. Gunmaster is one of these modes that will test your capabilities. I actually found that it helped raise my gameplay level because of the heightened sense of awareness that you're going through. And I peek around this corner here and I feel like I got teammates all around me, but here comes Mr. Knifey Knife Engineer guy. Got knifed. Plain sight, right next to my teammate. Now to add insult to injury, I get demoted. I'm not sure if knifing advances you to your next gun. I didn't try it, but in the previous rounds that I played, I did notice people using their knife quite often, and this would have been prior to them needing to get a knife kill. And this is taking place on the Danya Fortress map, not the largest of the close quarter maps, but certainly not the smallest. Operation 925 is the larger of the maps. I did play a couple of rounds of Gunmaster on that map, and you do a lot of running around trying to find a target, especially if it's a 16-man server. Your best bet for Gunmaster might be Zeba Towers. It's the smallest of the maps, so you'll have to do less running around. One thing I did notice is that the spawning points seemed a lot more balanced. If you guys have played on the maps that are set for 64 players, you'll quickly discover that if 5 of the enemy have spawned in one particular spot and you're the 6th one to spawn, you'll be right next to them. So either that means you're going to get some awesome kills or you're just going to be completely decimated. Scrap Metal may be your second best map for Gunmaster, as it has confined areas and narrow passageways. One thing that can be said for Gunmaster is it will challenge your play style. For the most part, it clearly feels it's a run and gun, or maybe a run and stabby like Mr. Engineer here. Close Quarters has been out a little over a week now, and players are probably still adjusting to the maps, trying to find just those nice little sweet spot areas to post up. Posting up is kind of my way of defining how I see the V-bloggers play. If you'll notice in their videos, they're usually playing within a certain zone or a particular area that they're guarding. Naturally, these are going to be far more effective than just run and gun. I'd say my playstyle is a PTFO. I love being out there in the middle of everything. My kill-death ratio will easily reflect that, because ultimately I play to have fun. I am a recreational shooter in real life, so I do try to apply some of the basic tactics that we learn when receiving our certifications. Now, does this mean that guys with military, police, or weapons specialization training are better Battlefield players? Not at all, because we're still relegated to play within the game's design, that being the PC with a mouse or a console with a game controller. The other element to my play style is I like utilizing everything the game has to offer. I don't stick to any one particular kit, although most of my service stars are obtained by playing the Engineer. During this double experience weekend, I made it a point to play the Recon class. They are a lot of fun to play, and the new weapons that were released with close quarters are very impressive. I like the M417 and the J&G. It may be fair to say that DICE was trying to bring more viability to some of these kits. I like the MTAR 21 for my engineer. I felt that it was something that the engineer needed, a little more oomph for these close quarter type environments. Although some may prefer the ACW. Either weapon, glad to see that engineers were getting a little something more unique to play on these smaller maps. The assault class seemed to have gotten the shorter end of the stick. I've not seen a lot of guys running around with the AUG or the SCAR L. What I did see a lot of guys using was the F2000. I was impressed. I had not used that weapon in a while. I had stored it away collecting dust on the battlefield gun rack. It now has the camo on it, so it brought a little bit of attractiveness back to the weapon, but I felt that it performed very well in these close quarter encounters. The support class was given the L86A2 and the LSAT. Both of these weapons seem very adequate, but I found myself going back to my M249. Naturally, what weapons you use will be determined by what type of map you are playing. I don't have any one weapon as my favorite for any particular kit. If it were up to me, I would probably play a lot more shotgun. It is my favorite. It's what I like to shoot in real life as well. I was hoping for a little bit more out of the Spaz pump action. As far as Italian shotguns are concerned, my favorite is the Benelli Supernova Tactical. The Marines call it the M4, and here in Battlefield it is identified as the M1014. So there's no confusion. The Benelli Supernova Tactical is not the M4 or the 1014, but each of these shotguns are made by Benelli. Here we're getting closer to the end of the round. The stress music has just started cueing, and I'm a little concerned, if not frantic, trying to find some additional kills. And it seems as though when you're getting towards the end of the rounds, all of a sudden the spawns start appearing. I don't know if that's a coincidence or even part of the spawn logic, but it seemed like towards the end of these rounds the enemies were a lot closer. As you can see, I'm 7 of 17, so I'm not even halfway through. So again, getting a little concerned that I may not have enough kills or score to place high enough to get my 5th. And here we have another one of those, just thank goodness it came out of nowhere spawns. That last kill put me at level 8, unlocking the ACW, and the round ends. Fortunately for me, I was able to place as high as 5th. Sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed this Battlefield 3 average player's perspective. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And here we have the nice Ace Squad ribbon to top it all off.
That's one.
Yep, sweet. Thanks to your help, brother.
101. No problem.